Assalamualaikum and good morning, kids. Welcome to Year 3 English lesson Annie, focusing on countable and uncountable nouns in questions. So, without wasting more time, let's look at our objectives for today. By the end of this lesson, pupils will be able to understand specific information and details of short simple text. Read and write the correct answers, at least 7 corrects. So let's go to our lesson now. So first lesson is Annie, which is countable nouns in questions. Now, do you still remember what we have learned before about uncountable nouns? Yes. Now, uncountable nouns is nouns that cannot be counted. Okay, now please look at the picture. Those are the nouns that cannot be counted. Nouns that cannot be counted, such as bread, fruit, juice, milk, flour, sugar, meat, cheese, and many more. Okay, so now let's go for our lesson today. Now, for our lesson, we are going to learn any uncountable nouns in questions, in form of questions. Now, for example, the question will be like this. Is there any cheese? Now, you have to remember, uncountable nouns, we use is. Untuk benda yang tak boleh kita kira ni, kita akan guna is. So remember, cheese is uncountable noun. So is there any cheese? When the question start with is, apabila soalan mula dengan is, jawapannya juga mesti kena ada is. So if the answer is yes, yes there is. If the answer is no, it will become no there isn't. Now the tip is like this. Cara dia senang je. Kalau mula soalan tu dengan is, jawapan dia pun mesti kena ada is kat belakang. Kalau depan dia is, ingat jawapan ada is kat belakang. Okay, now let's look at the answer. Is there any cheese in the picture? In the pizza? Can you see it? So the answer is, of course, yes, there is. Okay, remember when the question start with is, jawapan dia kena ada is. Yes, there is. If no, no, there isn't. Now, let's practice some of the questions. Okay, now are you ready? Good. Now, question, is there any milk in the fridge? What's the answer? Yes, the answer is yes, there is. Very good. Now let's look on the next question. Is there any chocolate? What's the answer? Of course, the answer is no, there isn't. Now next question. Is there any lettuce in the fridge? So what is the answer? Okay, the answer is, of course, no, there isn't. Very good. So remember, kids, when you encounter, bila jumpa soalan is there any letters, start with is. Remember, the answer must also have is. Ingat, jawapan dia mesti ada is. If yes, yes, there is. No, no, there isn't. Okay, good. Okay, kids, now let's look on the next session, which is any countable nouns in questions. Okay, now, remember what is countable nouns? Yes, countable nouns is something that we can count it. Now, examples of countable nouns like apples, oranges, sandwich, burgers, cookies, hot dog, carrots, okay, pancakes, and many more. So you can look at the examples of countable nouns in the picture above. Okay, so let's look on the next session. Now we are going to learn about any for countable nouns in questions. For countable nouns in questions, they are going to start the question with are. Okay, for example, are there any tomatoes? Okay, now countable nouns ialah benda yang kita boleh kira. Jadi, kita kena guna are untuk tanya dan juga jawab soalan. So, are there any tomatoes? Like I said before, when the question start with R, the answer also must have R. Okay, if previous lesson kita belajar, is there any cheese? Okay, jawapan dia ada is juga. Yes, there is. No, there isn't. Same goes with R. When there a question asks, are there any tomatoes? The answer also must have are. Yes, they are. No, they aren't. Bukan aren't sebut no, they aren't. Okay, ingat tips je. Start with is. The answer also must have is. If the question start with are, the answer also must have are. Okay, now let's look at this answer. So, for this question, the answer is yes, there are. Are there any tomatoes? Yes, there are. Now, look at the next question. Are there any cucumbers? Adakah terdapat timun? No, there aren't. Very good. No, there aren't. Okay, now look at the next question. Are there any bell peppers? Bell peppers ialah lada benggala. Yes, the answer is no, there aren't. No, there aren't. Oh, sorry. Okay, now next one. Are there any eggs? What's the answer? The answer is no, there aren't. Okay, now, so let's look at the homework right now. So, what you have to do, take out your module 6. Okay, please look at this page first. Now remember, write the day and the date. Write the correct answer. Now look at the question. Is there any cheese? Remember, when we start with is, the answer also must have is. Okay? Okay, now question 2. Write the day and the date. Write the correct answer. Now just like the previous question, this time they start with are. So, are there any peppers? Jawapan dia kena ada apa? Yes. Just like you say, they must have are also. Okay, tak boleh. If the question start with are, you answer with is. Cannot. Are, the answer also must have are also. Okay? Now remember, please paste it in your exercise 2 book. Okay, that's all for today. For our lessons, see you again on the next lesson. Thank you. Goodbye.